The Life of Leorio Paradinight from Hunter x Hunter. Leorio Paradinight is a rookie hunter and a member of the Zodiacs with the codename Boar. He's currently a medical student studying to become a doctor. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Leorio Paradinight. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Also, if you're already subscribed, please double check. We've noticed that YouTube is unsubscribing some people from channels they've previously subscribed to, so if you want to catch all our newest videos, make sure you are subscribed. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Background. Leorio once lost a close friend, a boy named Pietro in the 1999 anime adaptation, to a debilitating illness. Leorio feels deeply remorseful about being unable to save his friend, as the illness was entirely curable but required a surgery he could not afford. Thus, he aspires to become a doctor, one who not only cures the ill of their diseases, but also one who works pro bono for people who cannot afford it. In this light, his outwardly superficial reason to join the hunter exams in the pursuit of great wealth gains a more noble justification. The money he earns is used not only to fund his medical school fees, but also to pay for the medicine and other miscellaneous expenditures when treating those who cannot afford it. Hunter Exam Arc. Leorio, examinee number 403, makes his first appearance on board the ship that goes from Whale Island, Gon's hometown, to a testing site of the 287th Hunter exam. He, Gon, and Kurapika are the only 3 candidates who are not affected by the brutal storm the night before. The captain reveals that he is an examiner and asks them why they want to become hunters. With some reluctance, Kurapika replies that he wants to capture the Phantom Troop. Leorio, on the other hand, answers the captain that he is attracted by the material possessions provided by being a hunter. The two have a quarrel over their different opinions and decide to end it with a fight out on the deck while another storm is raging. While they're about to start, a crew member is knocked off the deck by a piece of wood broken off from a yard. Gon jumps off the deck to catch him and in turn is kept from falling into the sea by Kurapika and Leorio. After the incident, they apologize to and make up with each other. Seeing that, the captain laughs and decides to take the trio to the nearest testing place, Zaban City. In Zaban City, following Gon, Kurapika and Leorio head for a tree on a mountain that the captain instructed them to go to. They encounter a group of people on the way, and a very old lady who is also an examiner asks them a question which they can only have 5 seconds to answer. The question is such a dilemma that none of them can give an answer before time is up. Getting annoyed, Leorio picks up a wooden stick and attacks her, but he's blocked by Kurapika, who explains to him that they have passed because keeping silent is the correct answer to the question. The old lady then tells him to go to a house in the forest to find a couple who will be their navigators if they consider the trio qualified. Upon entering the house, they see a wounded man lying on the floor and a woman being held captive by a Kiriko. The monster flees as soon as it sees them. Telling Leorio to take care of the husband, Kurapika and Gon chase after it and force it to let go of the wife. Kurapika catches her and notices these strange tattoos on her hands and face. Leorio then shows up and says that there's nothing to worry about the husband. Kurapika suddenly hits Leorio in the face with his wooden sword. Turns out that this Leorio is a Kiriko in disguise. After the monster runs away, he asks the wife who she really is, to which her answer is a strange smile. Meanwhile, Gon is able to tell 2 identical looking Kirikos apart, which greatly surprises them. The 2 Kirikos and the husband and the wife, who are actually their son and daughter, then explain to the trio how they have qualified for the next test. Kurapika for his vast knowledge, Leorio for his good medical skill and confidence, and Gon for his extraordinary movement and observation, and fly them to the next testing site. At the starting site of the first phase, a large tunnel, Leorio, Kurapika, and Gon see a lot of experts. Tonpa, nicknamed Rookie Crusher, offers each of them a can of his laxative-spiked drink, but Leorio pours it away after Gon claims that it has a bad taste. An examiner, Satots, then appears and tells the candidates to follow him through the tunnel. He runs faster and faster, and Leorio has difficulties keeping up with him. After 5 hours of non-stop running, he seems to be exhausted and about to give up. Gon calls out to him, and suddenly Leorio starts to run really fast, shouting he will do anything to become a hunter. However, he unintentionally leaves his suitcase behind, which is picked up by Gon right afterwards. While running, he reveals to Kurapika the story about his deceased friend and why he wants to become a hunter. By being one, he will have the money to pay for his expensive medical studies. The marathon finally ends when they reach the Milsey Wetlands, also known as the Swindler's Swamp. Satats warns them of the grave dangers and tells them to follow him through the swamp in another marathon. On the way, Leorio, Kurapika, and a number of other candidates are attacked by Hisoka, a man notorious for his murderous penchant. All of them are killed in a short time except for him, Kurapika, and Cherry. Knowing they will have no chance of winning against Hisoka, they split up in 3 different directions. However, Leorio returns right away with a wooden stick to face Hisoka, saying that he's lost his temper. Hisoka easily dodges Leorio's attack and is about to finish him when he's stopped by Gon and a fishing rod. Finding Gon interesting, Hisoka immediately turns to him and ignores Leorio, who attempts to attack Hisoka once again, but is immediately knocked unconscious by a punch to the face. Hisoka spares Gon's life, says he will not kill Leorio because he's qualified, then carries him to the site of the second phase, the Visca Forest Preserve. At the site of the second phase, Leorio regains consciousness with a swollen right cheek and meets Kurapika, Killua, and Gon, but does not remember what happened. 2 gourmet hunters, Menshi and Buhara, appear. The second phase starts with Buhara asking them to cook roast pork. Even though the kind of pig that they need to catch, the Great Stamp, is the most dangerous pig in the world. However, Leorio and his 3 friends and many of the other contestants have little difficulty passing the test after they discover that these pigs have a weak spot on their foreheads. The next test proves to be a real problem as the other examiner, Menshi, asks them to make sushi. Leorio receives some pointers on making sushi from Kurapika, who has read some books about this dish. He's the first to finish and submit his sushi to Menshi, but he fails because the sushi he made looks terrible. All the other candidates are subsequently failed by her as well. When the second phase is on the verge of having no qualifier, Chairman Netero of the Hunter Association arrives in an airship, criticizes Menshi for losing her temper as an examiner, and tells her to give them another test, which she herself also has to take. This time around, Menshi asks them to cook boiled spider eagle eggs, which hang from strong strings connecting the 2 sides of a deep ravine. Even though they have to jump into a ravine to find the eggs, Leorio and 41 of the other examinees pass the test and are subsequently taken to the site of the third phase in the chairman's airship. The third phase of the Hunter exam starts atop the Trick Tower, which has numerous passages, and they have 72 hours to get to the bottom of it alive. Leorio, Kurapika, Killua, and Gon are all forced to form a team of 5 with Tonpa to pass through the first door. They advance using the majority rule several times along the way, and their road leads them to a platform set up in the middle of a bottomless abyss, where they have to participate in a best-of-5 series consisting of 5 no-holds-barred one-on-one matches against a team of 5 hardened convicts. Tonpa is the first to fight against Bendot, and he forfeits the match on purpose to make it harder for them to win. Gon's match is the second, and thanks to his quick thinking, he manages a win to level the score at 1-1. The third match is Kurapika's, and his opponent is Majtani, a serial killer and also an imposter who has a spider tattoo on his back and brags about his Phantom Troop membership to Kurapika. Enraged, Kurapika's eyes turn scarlet and he knocks Majtani down with a single punch. However, the match is still going on because he refuses to kill his opponent, who seems to be unconscious. Seeing that, Leorio steps in and makes a bet that Majtani is still alive and pretends to drop him into the abyss. Majtani is so scared that he stops playing possum and admits defeat. The score is now 2-1 in favor of Leorio's team, but they have lost 40 hours due to betting. Leorio's own match is the 4th, and he loses it after a rock-paper-scissors game along with a bet of 10 hours on the gender of his opponent, Larute. It's 2-2 now, and Killua quickly kills his opponent in the last match, putting the final score at 3-2 in their favor, but Leorio's team now have less than 10 hours to reach the bottom. As they advance, they have to use the majority rule some more times and face many other obstacles such as electric quizzes, multiple choice labyrinth, mine camps, go, and more. Thanks to a brilliant idea of Gon's in choosing ways, they manage to reach the bottom of the tower with just 30 seconds left, thus qualifying them for the 4th phase. During the 4th phase, the remaining examinees are taken to Zevil Island to take part in a 7-day manhunt among themselves to capture each other's number badges. Leorio is the assigned target of Tonpa, who in turn is Kurapika's assigned target. After he's tricked by Tonpa and Sami and loses his badge, Kurapika appears, knocks Tonpa down, and asks Leorio to team up with him, to which Leorio agrees. They take the badges number 16 and 118 from Tonpa and Sami. Even though Kurapika already has 6 points from his own and Tompa's badges, he still helps Leorio find his target, Ponzu, examinee number 246. As they're looking for the target, they again encounter Hisoka, who tells them to give him their badges if they want to live. Kurapika says that he will give him the badge 118, which also means only 1 point to them. As for the other 3 badges, they will fight to the death to protect them. Hisoka agrees and lets them go and takes the badge number 118. At the end of the 6th day, he and Kurapika meet Gon and tell Gon about Ponzu. Gon helps them find her by tracking the smell of the medicine that she uses to defend herself. Finally, they find Ponzu, but together with her, they are trapped in a cave full of snakes whose owner, Bourbon, examining number 103, is already dead due to anaphylactic shock caused by Ponzu's bees. Thanks to Gon's bravery and ability to hold his breath for an extended period of time, all of them are able to get out of the situation by using a soporific gas of Ponzu's to make these snakes sleep. Before they go, Gon takes the badge number 246 from a sleeping Ponzu and leaves her the badge number 103. With this, Leorio and 2 of his friends qualify for the next and also final phase. The final phase of the Hunter exam is an elimination tournament with a twist. The winner of a match will be removed from the list and receive his very own Hunter license, and the loser will be given another chance. During the match between Illumi Zoldyck and Killua, Leorio shouts out to Killua, encouraging him to stand up to his brother's psychological manipulation, and together with Kurapika, Hanzo, and some examiners, blocks Illumi when he wants to go murder Gon. As the tournament goes on, Leorio is eventually required to fight Botoro in his first match. When they have just started, Killua suddenly interferes and kills Botoro. Killua is immediately disqualified, which allows Leorio to obtain a Hunter license by default. Later, to help Killua, he and Kurapika request that the Hunter Association examine the nature of the murder, but to no avail. After the Hunter exam is finished, he decides to go with Gon and Kurapika to Kukuru Mountain to rescue Killua from the control of his family. Zoldyck Family Arc. Leorio, Kurapika, and Gon arrive at the entrance of the Zoldyck estate, the testing gate on Kukuru Mountain on the tour bus. They tell the old gatekeeper, Zebro, that they are Killua's friends, but he says that they cannot let them enter until they can at least push open the first testing door, which weighs 4 tons, because going into the estate via any other way will result in them being killed by the huge guard dog named Mike. The trio then accepts Zebro's invitation to stay in his house to train, using his heavy equipment. After 20 days, they can all open the first gate, with Leorio opening up to the second door, weighing 8 tons, and head for the Zoldyck residence without any problem until they're stopped at another gate by a female attendant named Canary. She beats Gon up to prevent them from advancing, but thanks to Gon's insistence, she becomes more and more reluctant to block their path, and finally asks them to save Killua. Kikyo Zoldyck then appears with her son Kaluto, knocks Canary unconscious, and tells them to leave, but after regaining consciousness, Canary says that she's going to lead them to the attendant's room. While staying in the servant's room, they're forced into playing a guessing game with Canary's life at stake with some butlers of the family, which they manage to win. Killua at last arrives and leaves the Zoldyck estate together with them. Leorio then asks Kurapika what Hisoka told him during the final phase of the Hunter exam, to which Kurapika tells his 3 friends what was whispered to him during that phase. He would wait for Kurapika in Yorknew City, where the largest auction in the world takes place, on September 1st, to tell him some interesting things about the Phantom Troop. It's 6 months until that day, so Kurapika says goodbye to his friends after telling them he's going to look for some work as a hunter, and arranging to meet up with them later in Yorknew City in September. Leorio says he's going to study to prepare for the entrance exam of a private university and says goodbye to his friends too. Heaven's Arena Arc. During Gon and Killua's training in the Heaven's Arena, it's revealed by Wing that Leorio planned to begin learning Nen after he passes the entrance exam at his medical university. Yorknew City Arc. Leorio meets Gon and Killua again in Yorknew City on September 1st, helping them bargaining over 2 cell phones and telling them that he has already learned Nen, in reality only having learned the basics, not knowing much more than 10. After they tell him about the Greed Island game, which is extremely expensive, he comes up with a plan to help them earn money, staging an arm wrestling contest with the prize being a diamond worth 3 million Jenny, and challengers having to pay 10,000 each. On the first day, they win 2.75 million in total, but the number of challengers is decreasing towards the end of the day. On September 2nd, Leorio tells his 2 young friends that the arm wrestling contest is just bait to lure big fish to the surface. Just as he says, even though on the second day no one dares to challenge them, 2 members of the Mafia come, and after confirming that Leorio is really strong, invite them to participate in the manhunt against the robbers of the auction items. After Leorio pays the participation fees for the 3 of them, Killua tells him it's a bad idea because they will be after the Phantom Troop, who even his father is cautious about fighting against. On September 3rd, because the Mafia controls every way to get out of Yorknew, Leorio guesses that the Phantom Troop are still hiding somewhere in the city. Later on, they receive information about the location of 2 Phantom Troop members, Machi and Nobunaga. After finding the targets in a square and paying the informants via telephone, Leorio starts to keep them under surveillance with Gon and Killua. He wants to capture them, but Killua says it's impossible because this is a trap set by those two to catch their prey. After a while, seeing no action from their hidden enemies, Machi and Nobunaga leave the square. Because Leorio does not know Zetsu, Killua tells him to stay put while he and Gon are going to tail them. Gon and Killua are subsequently captured, but they manage to escape at night while most of the troop are launching an attack on the Mafia's headquarters in the city. Leorio, Killua, and Gon meet Kurapika again on September 4th and are told about the secrets of his Nen abilities. During their conversation, Hisoka messages Kurapika, telling him about the fake corpses of some members of the troop the night before. Kurapika wants to go fight the troop alone, but Leorio, Gon, and Killua offer him their help, which he accepts. Leorio is then asked to be a driver while Kurapika and the others are going to shadow the Phantom Troop. On the evening of September 4th, Gon and Killua are unfortunately captured again. Soon afterwards, Leorio, Kurapika, and Melody manage to capture the leader of the troop, Crollo Lucifer, and exchange him for Gon and Killua. Greed Island Arc. On September 6th, Leorio and Melody watch over Kurapika as he recovers from severely exhausting himself from his prolonged use of his Emperor Time Nen ability, and when he wakes up, Melody informs him of the current events. The following day, Leorio sees Kurapika and Melody off at the airport, telling her to take good care of Kurapika before they leave. On September 10th, after Gon and Killua have passed Batera's recruitment test for the Greed Island game, he helps them review the contract, then says goodbye to them and leaves Yorknew. 13th Hunter Chairman Election Arc. Before the 4th round of the 13th Hunter Chairman election, Leorio reappears in the hospital where Gon is being given intensive care treatment, talking to Goto over the phone. He, as short-tempered as he was, shouts at Goto asking to talk to Killua, to which Goto refuses. Killua then asks Goto to let him talk to Leorio and tells him to listen to what Goto says. Goto goes on to demand that Leorio evacuates all the people in the hospital building except for Gon before they arrive, which frustrates Leorio because this is a national hospital with thousands of people. Seeing that, Morel takes over the negotiation with Goto. Morel's professional demeanor earns Leorio's trust and he leaves, saying that he'd like to have a word with some fellows. After leaving the hospital, he tries to contact Kurapika, wondering why he hasn't shown himself at the hospital to visit Gon, but is unable to contact him. He then goes straight to the Hunter Association's HQ, where an electoral lecture held by the Zodiacs is going on. When the question and answer session has just started, he asks to talk to Ging and then angrily questions him about his indifference to Gon's critical condition. Ging answers that he does not need to care about Gon because Gon has a number of good friends like Leorio, infuriating him. He suddenly throws a punch at a table, crushing it. At the same time, a black portal opens up on the table in front of Ging, and then a fist forcibly flies out, hitting Ging in the chin, sending him flying. Seeing that, many hunters on the scene cheer and laugh. This audacious action unexpectedly earns Leorio approval, and despite being a nobody, he ends up 3rd place in the 4th round of the election with 55 votes, and down into 4th place in the 5th round with also 55 votes. He becomes 2nd from the last 4 participants. When Mizaistam and Cheadle make their speeches, Leorio is lost in his thoughts that he shouldn't be there. Leorio is soon called for his speech by Payan, and he starts to talk about Gon and how he currently seeks no thing other than for hunters to help him in this deadly situation, and how he feels powerless but wants to help him recover no matter what. This unexpectedly earns him a massive round of applause from the audience, to which he's greatly surprised. With Periston soon called for his speech, with Cheadle confident that Leorio will win. Becoming one of the last 2 participants, Leorio is again asked what his plans as chairman would be. Just then, Gon walks in on the election. Overjoyed, Leorio runs over and hugs him. When asked who he would vote for, Gon replied Periston because Leorio wants to become a doctor. After also voting for him, Leorio leaves with Gon. He's later seen trying to contact Kurapika again. Dark Continent Expedition Arc. Leorio is contacted by Cheadle, who asks him to join the Zodiacs and accompany them on their trip to the Dark Continent. She explains to Leorio, who's confused that due to his actions during the election, he's highly regarded in the Hunter Association. His presence would surely help the Zodiacs gain the influence needed for their mission to succeed. Leorio, ready to decline, says that he has his studies to attend to. Cheadle then informs him that he's been permitted to study abroad with Cheadle as his teacher. Realizing this is a once-in-a-lifetime offer, he accepts being Ging's successor and then asks if there's room for one more Zodiac, nominating Kurapika. As Kurapika is driven to the Hunter Association's headquarters, he talks to Leorio on the phone. Leorio asks him to give him his email address, but Kurapika refuses. Kurapika says he has heard of Gon's situation from Mizaistam and inquires if there's anything he can do, but Leorio replies that their friend is fine and that he is more useful than the Zodiacs. Leorio greets Kurapika as the latter arrives at the headquarters, stating that the mission seems more troublesome than predicted and wondering if they'll be alright. Kurapika's only concern, however, is why they've been given so little information. Cheetle then leads the way and introduces them to the other Zodiacs. She starts explaining about the V6, the 5 threats, the difficulty of the mission, which is A, whereas the Chimera Ants were ranked B. Leorio grows apprehensive, inferring that the mission he will be embarking upon is even more dangerous than the one in which Netero lost his life. Cheetle then asks if anyone has any questions. Kurapika raises his hand, saying he has many. The first is how many infiltrators on Beyond Netero's side the Zodiacs have managed to identify, much to everyone's shock. When Kurapika and Mizai Stomp come into the room, Cheetle continues her speech. Leorio claims that he will support her medical team in the Dark Continent and is glad he's allowed to join the expedition and promises to do his best. He's assigned to the science team. Succession Contest Arc. When the Black Whale finally sets sail, Leorio starts working at the medical care facility on Tier 3 under Cheetle, carrying medicines. Leorio is shown to be in the medical ward in Tier 3 with Cheetle and Gel. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.